Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 12 of Psychiachix.
Yay.
We haven't recorded for 2 months, but so what? So I am Dr. Natalie Gibson.
Yo, and I'm Dr. Fraser. This is a COVID special being streamed directly into your hell
hole.
And you are...
I don't even know who I am anymore. I don't know. I'm formerly known as Dr. Kirsty Olsen.
Yeah, we're all losing our minds. So this one, like Chloe said, is a pandemic lockdown special because we kind of had to. Well, actually, here in Wales, we got locked down way before you guys. The week before Christmas. Huh?
Didn't we start this in lockdown? Are we still stuck?
This is the other one. This is the next one. We had like a little bit of respite.
This is Lockdown 2.0, the much-awaited sequel.
Yeah, this is the winter version.
Yeah, with more depression.
With SAD, bad weather, and darkness. So we're going to talk about ways you might be feeling and maybe why that is. Think about maybe people's different responses to the lockdown and what that means. And then we'll have a little look at some scientific papers to see what's changed during lockdown for people. And then obviously we'll embarrass ourselves with, telling you our deepest, darkest. So shall we start with ways people might be feeling during lockdown, the winter version?
Yeah. It's a bit of a perfect storm, I think, because, we spoke about this in previous episodes, but there's understandably a lot of fear and anxiety around at the moment. Humans all living species have an innate fear of dying, and we are being told every single day that there is a high risk that we might die, that us and our loved ones might die. And I think it's interesting because normally the way we would naturally cope with this is to connect and feel safe around other people. Yeah. But on this occasion, it is the one thing we cannot do. So what is that?
I think also it's like a synergist effect, isn't it? Like we had this initial pandemic panic lockdown, then we had like a little bit of a respite, and it's like, oh, actually we can all relax a bit now. Like, new strain. And now it's like building on the last one.
Yeah.
Much.
Does anybody just find, winter's just the worst anyway. I find from the end of September, just preparing myself just to get through to March every year. And I don't think my sad lamp's really cutting it anymore.
No, that sad lamp is pointless right now.
Sad itself.
It's sad itself.
Not even a lamp is going to help us this time. Not even.
Sad lamp. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Can we talk about connection then? Because that's the main thing I took from what you said, Chloe.
Yeah. It is an inevitability, isn't it, that loss and death will happen to everybody, and yet we don't think about it constantly, even though it is actually terrifying and unbearable.
That's why we don't think about it constantly.
Yes, exactly. But one of the ways that we sort of defend against that is by forming relationships with other people and being around people we trust, we love, and people that make us feel safe. And yet here we are, needing it more than ever, and we can't do it.
Yeah. Or we have this sort of like weird virtual connection, which is just not the same. There's no intimacy. There's no swap of oxytocin. There's nothing.
Oh, what do you need now? A big cuddle? A 10-second?
I need a kerchief.
10-second wriggle.
It's been a long time. Yeah. So I guess ways people might be feeling. So I guess lonely, scared, angry.
Yeah, I imagine there's a lot of anger at the moment, actually.
I've got a bit of it bubbling.
Yeah, not being able to do the things you want to do, not being able to see your loved ones. It's going to bring out some pretty strong emotions.
Boredom. Boredom, just eternal, when you just have all these plans for the summer, and they keep you going, and then they're gone.
time is endless at the moment. There are no kind of things to break up the times.
Why do I even own a diary? What's the point?
No.
There's nothing in it.
I feel like treading water a little bit, like we just kind of like just kind of keep.
Gotta get through this. Gotta get through that.
Yeah. I guess I'm just thinking about people. I mean, we'll always come back to this because we think about some of our patients and some of the most vulnerable people that are struggling at this time, and how they're keeping going. I mean, if you were someone that was quite mentally resilient before, and you know, you might be worse than you were then, but kind of, you know, managing with other strategies that we shall come to later. But if you're already someone that doesn't have that resilience and struggling with lots of other things, then I can imagine, you know, things.
Well, then not coping. I don't know about you guys, but my job, like as a psychiatrist, everything's worse, and then on top of it, you've got lots of like staff sickness. So then we're even more stretched. So it's just like it's a disaster.
Yeah. It's probably you know, mental health at this point in time isn't getting as much recognition as it should be. It's not getting.
It makes my blood boil. Like they'll say all this science, and you know, and you're like, yeah, and they just don't. It's just not acknowledged. Like, oh yeah, this might make you mad, by the way, because it's completely massive and terrifying.
But I always sort of wonder if that's because the ultimate solution to it, or the kind of management or treatment, is the one thing we're not allowed to do. Yeah. So it's
I just think maybe a bit of acknowledgement to be like, actually, this is really tough.
Yeah, it's really tough. But then the kind of normal stuff you say, you know, make sure you connect with your friends, make sure you talk about it, lovely things, go for a nice walk, do things that you enjoy. They can't say that, can they? It's more like, no, sit at home and feel shit.
Yeah.
I think you see a lot of, like, I've seen a lot of now in this sort of second new lockdown, I've seen a lot of on social media, you know, lots of toolboxes, mental health toolboxes, and how to get through it and stuff.
Yeah.
And I guess we've already done this once. This is not our first rodeo. And I think it's like, I just want to get across that it's okay to feel completely horrendous. Yeah. And if those little toolboxes aren't working, that's fine too. They're not working for me either. I'm a wreck. So.
Yeah.
I'm certainly seeing people kind of, like you said, Nat, kind of, they've been around the toolbox a few times, and now people are asking for medication, right? Because people are saying, I don't want to do any of this. I can't do any of the things that you're suggesting. I need some medication to make this better.
Make it stop.
Make it stop.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. It's, you know, all the sort of things that you might do to keep resilience, you can't. So you're really stuck in this.
Like, how many walks can I go on before my depression stops?
Well, I think it's actually only one walk a day, Natalie.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
As far as you want. You can go as far as you like. 7 miles, in fact.
Walk to Scotland.
Yeah. So I mean, there has an article in the British Medical Journal, I think this month, saying that the number of antidepressants being prescribed at the moment is obviously through the roof, which is hard.
I guess that might have a lot of different reasons. One of them might, because I'm a big advocate of talking therapy for mood issues, but we can't give therapy face to face.
Yeah, and that's another thing that BMJ said, is that actually the requests for talking therapies aren't as high as you'd think they'd be. But I think it's because people don't want to do talking therapies over the phone or on Zoom.
I don't want to talk down the phone. Yeah, who wants to talk down? Yeah, it's not the same.
No shame on who likes that. That's absolutely fine. But
I had a therapy patient I was doing over video. I mean, it's not the same. You haven't got the feel. But, you know, it worked, and that's available. But then again, staff are ill as well. So, like, our workforce is shrunk. So everything's just harder.
But talking therapy requires effort, doesn't it? It requires effort at the best of times, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I just don't want to feel this. How can I not feel this? Can I go to sleep? Wake up when it's over?
Yeah.
And it's not a quick fix. You're not going to have one therapy session and be like, oh, I'm okay now.
Yeah.
You're going to feel worse, probably.
It sort of reminds me of that, what's that famous quote, like, to recognise that you have the power to change the things you can, but to accept the things you can't. I think often in talking therapies, you learn tools to change things, but there's just no doing that at the moment. I mean, very difficult to change a situation at the moment.
a lot of the time that I spend listening to patients at the moment is just around acknowledging that things are just really difficult, and validating that and letting people know
trying
that
to like accept that it's going to be this way for a while, and we just have to sort of sit with it rather than let it. Yeah.
So is it interesting about antidepressant use, because antidepressants, what they find in animal studies, when you give animals antidepressants, they will sort of keep going for longer. So if you put a rat in a body of water on an antidepressant, the rat will swim for longer, as opposed to a rat who isn't on an antidepressant. They'll just choose to float there. So I think it's kind of an interesting analogy when you apply it to humans, whether antidepressants are really that helpful right now, because there's kind of nothing to fight against.
Well, you're fighting against a brick wall, aren't you?
Yeah, it's sort of like, actually maybe just floating right now is the best we can.
That's the thing you can't change.
Yeah, just treading water. What are you laughing at, Kirsty?
just a floating human.
Floating rat.
Go with the flow, don't fight it. You don't need any more energy.
Yeah, just
for anything.
Exactly. Just survive, get through each day, eat, maybe do some exercise.
Yeah, try not to think of the bigger picture and. Yeah.
So, what have you guys been doing to pass the time? How are you filling the endless gaping hole of nothingness?
Eating my whole entire contents of my fridge.
Yeah, so diet, very important at a time like this. Remember to eat.
Oh, I know, I'm not. It's chips. I made a really nice risotto full of cheese. It's carbs. I'm carb loading because it's winter.
That's sort of normal. When we're under periods of stress, our desire to eat heavy carb foods goes up. It's very normal.
It's the only intimacy I get. That's my cuddle. My cuddle. Pasta. Pasta sandwich with a side of chips. Yes.
Oh man, I'm coming to that wedding. Nat marrying a pasta.
Flan. Yeah, so that's how I've been coping. I don't know if that's the right word. That's what I've been doing.
The wrong word. Kirsty doesn't know what she's been doing. She's been offline since September.
Kirsty's been dissociating.
Yeah.
I'm back.
Yeah. I'm getting into. I've got quite a lot of like flow activities going. Flow activities going on at the moment. Computer mindful activities where you kind of get wrapped up in the activity itself. So
give me an example. What do you mean? Like
I'm getting big into computer games at the moment. Hours of my life just, wasted, but they fly by.
Is it wasted?
Can you waste it?
Mindful. It's mindfulness.
It is. Yeah. I do find that hours go by, and great. One step closer to death.
I made crumpets from scratch on the weekend.
I see. Yeah, I saw your Insta. They look great.
Yeah. What?
Haven't you become one of those people? When did you become the kind of person who marries pasta and makes crumpets from scratch?
Yeah, I mean what have I become? I'm usually hungover, but
you get the little holes in the top.
Yeah, bitch, I got the little holes. They were pretty cool, weren't they?
How did you do that? This is what everyone needs to do, make crumpets.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good effort considering I'd never done it before.
Yeah, get in touch if you want some personal tutorial from Nat how to make crumpets.
Yes. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Kirsty, been doing
much? Going to work?
We are still working, FYI. We are all still.
Yeah, they're all at work.
Our NHS jobs.
Well, we always need to talk about. Well, have we covered alcohol?
Oh, yeah, drink. Yeah, so the increase in alcohol and drug consumption during the pandemic. I think we've got some statistics about that somewhere.
Yeah, hang on. So there's a really good study that was done. So there's a charity, I think they are, called Drugs and Me. And they're really good for anybody who wants like drug info. And they did a lockdown survey. Let me see how many people. So they conducted a survey in response to the COVID-19 outbreak titled recreational drug use during COVID-19. Okay, thanks for that. So it's able to understand like how people are using recreational drugs, if there's a change, just patterns basically. So they did it in April, so like near the beginning, and they had participants from 79 different countries.
It's pretty good.
And it's pretty good. So you had to be aged between 18 and 25. 35% were female, and blah blah blah. Anyway, so obviously alcohol and nicotine use, because of course. So frequently used drugs. So when I'm talking about drugs, I'm excluding alcohol and nicotine. So the other ones. Okay, so so frequently used drugs. Okay, so the one that went up the most was cannabis.
Yeah, I was going to say cannabis. You totally understand it, don't you? Because
chill you out.
But boredom.
Chill you out. Take the edge off.
Help you sleep.
It's the least recreational of all the drugs. You talk about recreational.
Yeah, it's the least party. It's not really a party drug as much as it cannabis.
You can sit and smoke it at home on your own. There's no recreation going on. So where's
it's not social.
Yeah. And it helps with, like you said, anxiety, sleep, kind of makes things more interesting.
Yeah. The right kind of cannabis.
Yeah.
The next one was LSD.
So that's interesting. Yeah, I'm not that surprised, because I guess it depends on the rationale for why the drug and alcohol use is increasing. Is it to deal with anxiety and negative emotions, or is it to deal with boredom? I can understand for boredom, cannabis is psychedelic. You can sort of understand that it's kind of giving you some sort of internal, it kind of makes entertainment.
Well, I guess for people who don't know, LSD is a psychedelic drug, so that's the one you sort of trip on.
Yeah. There's been animal studies before where if you put like monkeys in a box, a dark box, they will self-administer psychedelic drugs. And the thinking is,
when
there's nothing to do, you take away all stimulation from people. It's just it gives you something. The mind is able to hallucinate something. It's at least
stimulation.
I wonder whether if you had a bit of a bucket list of things you would do before you die, and you thought you were going to die, you might take LSD.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, interesting hypothesis.
Yeah, fear of death, fear that this, whatever, this is the end. Looking back on opportunities you might not have taken in the past, and just thinking, realizing
that's my time.
Life is about.
Yeah, because I can imagine the increase in alcohol consumption. I mean, I'm sure it's boredom as well, but that tends to be more of an anti-anxiety type substance.
Oh yeah, you can immediately. Like when the mummy used to have a glass of wine, I'm like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
That was said with such confidence, Dr. Gibson.
I need to do like a glass of red.
Yeah.
So the ones.
So
most frequently used drugs was cannabis. So that was used weekly or more often by 88%.
It's fascinating. Wow.
Opioids. So things like so give some examples of opioids. So things like codeine, tramadol, or
heroin. Heroin.
Yeah.
Heroin.
Yeah. Heroin.
Well, yeah. So because opioids is like a sciencey word, you might not know what that means. So used weekly or more often by 73%, and then crystal meth.
Yeah.
Used weekly or more by 63%.
That's fascinating.
Huge.
I can sort of understand the opioid one, because
you just want to numb yourself.
Yeah, but also in times of increased stress, people tend to experience more physical symptoms. So you tend to experience things like stomach aches, headaches. So using codeine or cocodamol, over-the-counter painkillers, to try and treat that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what's going on with the crystal meth though.
I know. I was really surprised by that.
They cover Australia or America?
I don't.
There's a lot of countries. There's a lot of countries. Yeah.
I work in substance misuse, and I don't see many people who use crystal meth. Interestingly.
Yeah, I guess it's global. There's nearly 2,000 participants, and it's global.
Yeah.
In terms of like changes in their drug use, no surprise. Cannabis, benzos, and opioids. All the participants reported increased use.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shock horror.
It's interesting that cocaine and MDMA, the kind of classic party with friends drugs, there's not much mention of them.
Oh yeah, no, it says that. So it says 33% consuming cocaine reported a decrease or greatly decreased consumption.
Okay.
29% consuming ketamine reported a decreased or greatly decreased consumption. And 28% consuming amphetamines reported a decrease or greatly decreased consumption.
It's interesting, isn't it? So
Party drugs.
yeah, so all party drugs down, and all the sort of numbing of difficult emotion drugs are up. No surprises.
Okay, so half of them reported combining alcohol and cannabis.
Yeah.
And then the most common one that people felt dependent on, so the ones that people felt like they had a dependence to, were cannabis, nicotine, and alcohol.
Okay. Yeah. I suppose it's interesting. Well, it's interesting anyway, but it's important to sort of show that it's really common.
Yeah.
And if you put any human or any animal at all under enough stress, they will likely start using substances as a way to manage. There's no shame in that.
This is a big stress. This is like social. It's like, oh, you might be dying, so there's that fear. And then it's like, oh, we're just going to cut off all your social interaction as well.
Yeah, the one thing you could you need to deal with these kind of stresses, they've taken away. The government.
The man. Really interesting. So they looked at reasons why people were taking them. So to have fun, to increase creativity.
Okay, so I imagine that's more psychedelic use. That tends to
to relax, to cope with stress, to escape reality. Reported using drugs to self-medicate, to sleep, to heighten mood or alleviate symptoms of depression, to reduce anxiety or to improve concentration.
What else are you doing with drugs if you're not self-medicating?
Well,
I don't get it.
I know, yeah.
Sure, self-medicating.
They've been stigmatized. Well, I suppose it could be purely for pleasure rather than
self-medicating. Yeah, purely for pleasure and social lubrication.
Because of boredom and loneliness.
Yeah. Well, it shouldn't, they're very stigmatized, but, they shouldn't be. And it just goes to show how rife drug and alcohol use is at the moment. And in animal studies, actually, when the environment gets better for the animals tend to naturally wean themselves off the substance.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's kind of been shown in quite a few studies. Animals will self-administer drugs if they're in a horrible environment. If they're put in a nice environment, they will naturally take themselves off the drug.
Interesting.
So hopefully it's over. There'll be some level of natural correction of it.
Speaking of other things,
yes,
other things people might do whilst they're bored at home.
Please do tell us what you've been doing earlier today.
I certainly don't have time for this in my day.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
So, increase in people consuming pornography at home.
Yeah, that's another huge one. So, recent study out looking at the impact of COVID-19 on...
Hang on, before you talk about that, can you just tell everyone where that study was published?
I thought you were going to ask me where I was masturbating earlier.
No!
Because we could start with Kirsty's masturbation session earlier. So this was a study published in Nature.
Nature.
It's a high impact journal. Yeah, big journal. So this is the impact of COVID-19 on pornography habits, a global analysis of trends.
One team were trying to sort out the vaccine, the other team were like, I know what we could do.
Yes, yeah. So let's have a look at porn.
Look at porn?
Now.
Yeah, it's for the study. It's for the study. I'm on. It's for the study. Yeah, totally. Right. Okay.
Yeah, I've been on Pornhub consistently for several months. It's science. It's science.
Nature. Nature.
So this study essentially just looked at pornography habits, looking at traffic towards different porn sites and what people were searching for, and then asking people what the kind of rationale was for their increased porn use. And as I'm sure everybody would expect, people looking at porn use has gone through the roof during the pandemic. What I thought was interesting is COVID-themed porn has increased in popularity.
Yeah.
It's the hot topic, isn't it?
You guys search for
Seen any? Well, we like to fetishize everything, so why not do it with
Flavor of the
COVID?
month, isn't it?
Yeah. Yep. We are.
Oh, it
Hazmat
says here
suit?
about wearing surgical gloves, hazmat suits, and masks. Maybe related to people's constant need for sexual novelty and humans' ability to fetishize virtually anything.
Clearly, I love that. Humans' ability, as if it's something we should be proud of. Well done, our species. We've managed to fetishize a fucking pandemic. Congratulations.
You can just fetishize anything. God's sake. Yes, Kurt. Like that.
Looking good. Yeah, so I personally haven't seen any. Sounds like you guys haven't seen any either. So clearly it's not.
Well, they suggested, which we talked about before, that it actually could be to eroticize their fear, because then it disappears.
Yeah, I thought it was a really interesting part of the paper. Part of the discussion was about query whether we're doing this because it's so terrifying. This pandemic is just so frightening. One way to cope with it is to
wank over it.
Yeah, simple as that.
Wank.
Yeah, when in doubt, have a wank. But it does happen a lot with sexual fetishes. We've spoken about this before, haven't we? Things that can actually be unbearable and terrifying can sometimes also be arousing, like spiders, sexy spiders.
Just plug in, go and look at episode 4 if you think you have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah, sometimes it's to sexualize something, or humans get confused about their emotions when there's a very, very strong or intensive emotion. Sometimes we can think it's arousal.
Yeah.
When actually it's fear or anxiety or anger. FYI, if you ever take someone on a date, where there's an increased chance of anxiety, like taking them on a roller coaster, they're more likely to be sexually attracted to you.
Right. So
afterwards, yeah, I like that.
Take note.
When lockdown was over, are they going to open the park?
Because your connection.
So when we're feeling scared and fearful, we're more likely to be sexually attracted to people.
Yeah, basically. So it's a strange, paradoxical. So it's like a high arousal state. If you're at any kind of a high emotional arousal state, we can confuse it for sexual attraction.
Yeah, just latch onto it.
Boredom was obviously another cited explanation. Like, what are you going to do between taking your LSD and your crystal meth? Go on Pornhub.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. Stress relief.
Yeah, yes, and stress relief. Yeah. We sometimes see that in a kind of neglected or traumatized children. They can compulsively masturbate as a way of managing difficult understanding. Yeah.
And it can help you sleep as well.
Yeah.
Help sleep if you do it before sleep.
Yeah, releases lots of endorphins, makes you feel good.
Yeah. I'm still looking at bits of the paper.
It's a great, fascinating paper.
It is. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It says when we're reminded of our own mortality, which means reminded of your impending death, which we are all the time at the moment, we subconsciously alter our attitudes and behaviours to help us cope with the terrifying prospect of our eventual death. So you're faced with the prospect of your own mortality. This prompts sexual desire and behaviour as a coping mechanism.
That's interesting, because I've heard conflicting things about that when actually things are, if you're kind of in an anxious environment, you're less likely to want to reproduce, because subconsciously you don't want to bring a child into a dangerous environment.
Do you think that would make a difference if that was a chronic stress or just an acute stress?
But people are watching porn, they're not having sex.
No, but I guess what this paper is saying is when you're faced with your own mortality, you become hypersexualized
and really horny.
Yeah, and you sort of think,
Death horny.
Well, that's your like desperation to leave something behind before you die, I guess. Like,
yeah.
I'm not just horny, I'm death horny.
I feel like I'm about to die. Don't know about you.
Like brings up the lube, like
I have a great date.
Oh my gosh, yeah, this is great.
On a roller coaster. Wink, wink.
Where are you going on your date? Thought Park.
Yeah. Yeah. So, have we got anything more to say about increased looking at porn? I mean, I suppose it's.
Oh no! What I wanted to sort of on that sort of same theme.
Yeah.
Was it the UK government or was it like WHO or someone?
I think it was the Canadian government actually.
Was it the Canadian government who put out it's ridiculous. Was it like guidelines?
Yes.
Or
so guidance to help reduce transmission of the virus, ways to still be intimate with your partner. Yeah, one governing body, I think it was Canada, suggested instead of having sex with your partner to masturbate in front of them whilst wearing a mask.
2 meters away.
2 meters away.
doing any aerosol generating?
It doesn't make sense because surely if you're already living with your partner, I mean, what? You're already
living
sex with them. You're already.
The person that you're best having sex with is either someone you live with or this is brilliant. Yeah, there's recommendations at the bottom about the best people
best to have sex with. Just so you don't go around masturbating in front of everybody wearing a mask. Just on the street.
Don't do it, all right?
Don't do it with everyone you live with.
Yeah. Save lives, don't do it.
Oh, they didn't really think about that, did they?
Yeah.
Maybe they thought too much, I don't know.
I would imagine that will form part of the porn though, won't it?
Yeah, well, there you go. The kind of fetishization has come out in government guidelines.
Yes. Just unconsciously.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to yes.
Fantastic. Oh, gosh.
Yeah. And do you exchange I mean, you can exchange bodily fluids from 2 meters, surely.
It depends how much propulsion.
Sex, mate.
Knackered, I don't know. I'm just wondering.
Those aerosols, they can really.
They can, yeah, unless you're putting a mask on your cock or something.
A little teeny tiny mask.
This is supposed to be like a serious video about the, mental health crisis of a pandemic.
Well, a world government put out that as guidance, so sorry.
Oh, dearie me.
Disgusting.
I mean, you've got to laugh. We've got to laugh. Otherwise, I will cry and I won't ever stop until this is over. So
dehydrating being in a pandemic. All the tears.
Yeah.
Can we say anything to help people? I mean, other than taking crystal meth and looking at porn, I think we.
No, that wasn't us condoning it. That was just an observational study.
Taking crystal meth, watching porn, great. It's really going to help your mental health.
No, don't do that because I don't want to see you in A&E.
Yeah.
You're tripping balls and you're wanking. Like I don't, because I told you to. Like I'm not in the mood.
Dr. Gibson told us it'd be good for us.
Yeah. Be like, Natalie, there's another one. Oh, God damn it.
I suppose you're not alone. You are not alone. For everyone who is suffering right now, you're not alone. It is horrendous, and I think all three of us are feeling it as well. Even though we're very privileged, we still get to go out and go to our jobs, and I'm very grateful for that. I shouldn't speak for you two, but I'm grateful for that. But it doesn't make it, coping. You used the word coping earlier, Nat. I don't know. Is it coping?
Surviving, yeah.
Surviving.
That's what it feels like. It feels like survival. You are literally, you've hunkered down and you just got to get through.
Yeah, just remember to eat, remember to sleep.
Yeah.
Exercise if you can.
Yeah.
And it will pass. Like everything else in life, it will pass.
Yeah.
And also, if you don't feel guilty if you're not doing those things, like all these self-help, mental health, do that. And, if you just can't do those things, that's fine too.
Yeah.
I'm not exercising. Are you insane? Like, it's dark, it's cold, and I'm sad. I don't want to exercise. Just let me watch The Mandalorian and eat pasta. Like, just let me just do that.
Yeah. I think it's what, it's wise. There's no shame in not being productive right now. There's no shame in doing absolutely nothing right now.
There's nothing to do. There's nothing else.
You can wank, Kirsty. Were you not listening?
I've been through the checklist like 6 times already.
6 times just today. Yeah, no shame. And if your alcohol and drug use is on the rise and your porn consumption is on the rise, the shame will probably harm you more than the actions themselves. So
yeah, everyone's doing it. Look at this study. Everyone's doing it.
Yeah. And there'll be help available once. Yeah, there is help available now, but if it isn't the right time, there will also be help available when this passes.
Yeah, we're all still working. Yeah. Anything positive? Positive to say? Jesus. I guess it doesn't have to be. You just acknowledge that. Probably there isn't any.
Kirsty's really thinking. I could really see the cogs turning. Positive. What does that mean?
Really things that are happening, okay? You gotta be grateful for the small stuff.
Yeah.
That's what is kind of becoming apparent. And people, speaking to people who are just enjoying the small things and just kind of getting back to basics a little bit and trying to enjoy that with the people that they can. So
Yeah,
I'm saving a lot of money.
Yeah. Mine's all going on for free.
It's not doing anything, so it's just sitting in my bank, which is quite nice.
I find comedy really helpful at times like this. When things are so awful, I do find. I mean, memes have had a great 2020. There's one thing 2020 can offer: it is good memes.
Yeah. Oh, and also I'm going to give a shout out to Munya, who has been making great content over the over the pandemic. I'll tag him in the thing.
Nice. Have to look at that. Yeah.
Good. Great content all year. It is a good year for
memes.
Yeah, content and memes. Yeah.
and Donald Trump.
Oh.
Don't say his name. He's like Voldemort.
Anyway.
Oh yeah, if you say it 3 times, he appears like.
Yeah, don't do that.
No. Great. Well.
What a comeback.
You feel better now.
It's not our purpose though, is to make people feel better.
No, well, it's to validate that you feel shit.
Yeah, I think the purpose is about, things are really hard, you're not alone. And however you're coping, there is no shame in that. Yeah. There is no shame. It is a terrible time at the moment.
Yeah. I'm gonna make a gin.
Gonna go watch porn.
Yep.
Kirsty's gonna do some drugs.
I am. I'm going to drink some alcohol and maybe consume some tobacco. Maybe.
Ooh.
I've got my pipe ready.
Oh gosh.
Consume some tobacco.
We're supposed to talk about our charisma.
Yeah, how uncharismatic we are at the moment.
Yeah. So we're gonna put a disclaimer in. Sorry, we're horrendous, but
And
sorry, we're dying.
If you're not as funny as you used to be, and part of your personality feels like it's gone, don't worry.
We're all a bit sad.
I'll be fine.
What are you eating?
Olives.
Okay. Chloe, what are you eating?
Olives.
Oh,
healthy. Eat some olives.
If you think part of your personality's died, don't worry about it. Totally normal. Yeah, I feel like there used to be more to my personality.
It was more to my soul, to be honest.
I thought that too, Chloe. You've really lost it.
Yeah, I feel like I used to be able to have interesting conversations with people, and now it's like, what are you guys up to?
It's a death stare.
Or it's a conversation about COVID or about vaccines. Oh, shout out to anyone feeling like shit. We're with you, man.
Oh my God, every day my alarm goes off and I'm like, am I going to turn that alarm off or am I going to scream into my pillow?
Is it your sad lamp crying?
My sad lamp.
Great. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. Do reach out if you're feeling terrible, or leave us some funny comments, or if you want us to talk about anything that you might find humorous, because I think humor is a good shout right now. Let us know. We'll do that.
And well done for getting to the end of this dreary episode.
This episode, we're not done yet. No. We're going to go on for as long as the pandemic.
Oh, you better believe it.
Right. Nice chatting. Bye.
Oh, I thought of another positive.
Oh yeah, go on.
Because of all the carbs.
Yeah.
Yeah, the girls have got bigger.
Oh! Hey-oh. Yeah.
Obviously, everything else has got bigger, but it's fine. Can't see that.
Great for all that masky masturbation you'll be doing in front of.
With my porn star tits. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going to go and eat some pasta and get me some of it.
Some of those bad boys.
Yeah, just
Nice.
I think they mean like wear a mask like this when you're masturbating.
You've got to have one here, haven't you? Like,
You need your mouth too.
You need your mouth to make it completely pointless. You're just wearing a mask over your face, but not your mouth and masturbating. Oh god. Oh, I'm gonna be finding these masks in my fucking nightmares for decades.